Hi, Sunny Chapman, owner of the Salty Olive, creator of the Feast or Famine No More course, and I am here for another episode of IGTV. And today I'm thinking about trusting your own clarity, trusting what you want, trusting the direction you want to go. That a lot of times we think we're not clear and we're indecisive and we don't really know what to do, when the reality is we know exactly what we want and we're totally clear about what we want to do or what we want to have, but we're not caught up in confusion about that. We're caught up in doubt about that and self-doubt and am I really allowed to have that? Am I really allowed to want that? Like, is that really okay? What if it's not the right thing? What if somebody else knows better than me? We don't trust ourselves. We don't trust ourselves. And that's not your fault. We've been culturally conditioned not to trust ourselves. We've been culturally conditioned to ask everyone else for a consensus first. Whoa, what is going on with my hair there? We've been culturally conditioned to, ask around and see what everyone else thinks and see what our friends think and see what our mom and dad thinks and see what our partner thinks and see what everyone thinks, right? Before we're allowed to trust our own clarity. So chances are the answer's like crystal clear in you and you've already made a decision on some level and now you're just kind of wrestling, you might be kind of wrestling with trusting that and trusting yourself. And that doesn't really go away. It's renewed at every step in the journey, because there's always new stuff coming up and there's always new decisions and there's always new clarity to come to. And so it's a continual process, trusting ourselves and trusting that clarity again and again and again. So, and I was thinking about this because, when I think about what I've discerned that I wanted at this phase in my life, what I want it all. I want it all. And I don't believe in having it all. I did not believe in that. You can't have it all. I fundamentally was like, no. I remember once I had a client that had some kind of tagline about having it all, and I changed it on her because I was like, oh, she's not seeing this right. You can't have it all. But here I am, 41 years old, and I want it all. I want it all. Am I allowed to have it all? Is that possible to have it all? What does having it all even mean? To me, it means love, crazy, beautiful love, freedom, creativity, unbridled, the ability to create what I want and share what I create, and to feel that I matter and that I'm heard and seen, and to have all the money and all the success and all of the things that I want to feel and experience while I'm here on this planet, in the short window of time I have on this planet. All the things I want, all the things. The list goes on. The list goes on and on. But we're not allowed to have it all, right? I mean, that is too greedy. That's too much. That wanting is too big. And it's that wanting, our own wanting. And we're just like, there's a part of us that's like, you got to shut that down, right? You got to shut that wanting down because it's out of control. But it's not out of control. It's absolutely natural to want to experience all the beautiful, wonderful things you observe in your world. You observe other people having them, you observe experiences, you observe places, you observe textures and colors and places, and you observe all this stuff and you want those experiences, and you can have them. There is no limit. There is no, you're allowed to have this and this, but not this. That's too much. You're out of control. No, it's not really like that. But we've been conditioned to believe that it is really like that. And so a lot of shame comes up. And that shame starts to look like self-doubt. Like, why don't you just settle for this? How about just this and this? You don't need all that. You don't really need all that. Now, how many times I've talked myself out of my what I really want, what I really desire. How many times I've done that, and how many times I'm sure you have too, because of that shame and self-doubt. And it's not coming from any one person. It's just out there. It's the belief. But what I know to be true is that when you tune in to your truth, when you tune in to the quiet, centered truth of what you feel and what you want to touch, what you want to hold, how you want to be held by your money, by your people, by life. You can have that. You can have that. And you can trust your own wanting. The ways I judged myself. Sunny, you're gonna go from this profession in branding design, which is doing great and doing fine, to talking about money out loud. You're gonna say money out loud multiple times a day to people. You're gonna talk about this? This was unheard of for me. That doesn't feel like a noble calling. That feels like some kind of shallow bullshit. That doesn't feel like a noble calling. I struggled so hard, but it was my heart calling out with the truth of what I wanted to overcome. It was a big shut door in my life, and I said, I want to experience that. I want to overcome that limitation. That no, not you. And I knew it was just so important. It was such an important part of my journey to honor that calling. But it didn't look like as noble as like walking the Pacific Crest Trail by myself or something. It's not as inspiring as that. But the way that it felt in my heart was exactly the same. It was a clear, crystal clear call that said, this way. This way. And I listened, and I continue to listen. And the things that I'm going to do in my life, and the things that I'm going to talk about, and the ways that I'm going to share, and the art that I'm going to create is always going to shift and change and reinvent itself. But my honoring of my calling and that true north, that clarity inside that speaks in that quiet, never will. That will always be there, and I can always trust it. Even when I doubt it, which is going to be every time, every time. And you can too. You can too, and you should. So you can have it all. You can have that thing you want, and even if it doesn't feel like the most inspiring thing that you could do, and you expected it to be so much more or to look some other way, trust. Trust what that is. Whatever that is, trust it. You got this.